And here at the Warwick Farm Circuit, the cars are on the grid for the Touring Car Division 1. This race over 10 laps or 22.5 miles, and we have some of the top touring car drivers in Australia. A very good clash here between them, such as Ian Gagan, Bob Jane, Neil Allen and Brian Foley. In fact, in the practice laps, Brian Foley, driving the Morris Cooper S, recorded 1:45.6. He's in car 8. Car 3 is Neil Allen, the Ford Mustang V8, 146.4, and number 2, Bob Jane, Ford Mustang V8, 146.6. Now, the great clash here between the Mustangs, in fact there are 3 of them in the race. Also Ian Gagan, driving car number 1, did 149.4. So it's a David and Goliath combination with Gagan, Jane and Allen opposing that tiny tot of Brian Foley's, and there it is, the Morris Cooper S. Now look at the size of this vehicle compared to the 2 beside it. The big Mustangs, the Ford Mustangs of Neil Allen and Bob Jane. The 3rd Mustang in the race is back on about the 4th line of the grid, but there are 7 or 8 Morris Coopers, and that's Ian Gagan's Mustang now. He recorded 149.4 in practice. That doesn't seem to be the true form for Ian. We'll see how he goes in the race. His car may not be performing as well as he expected, and now there'll be a minute or 2 to go before they get away on this race. This race will be over 10 laps, 22.5 miles. The sedan cars are averaging round 76 miles an hour, almost 77 miles an hour. 76.70 is the average time for Brian Foley's practice time of 1:45.6. And just looking through to the records, I think Brian Foley is the record holder for this distance. In fact, he is. And there's the 1-minute sign going now. So the pit marshals, the pit officials leave the area. The drivers are in their cars. They're getting ready now for this race to start. Less than 60 seconds to go now. Tremendous interest here is how the little cars, the Morris Coopers, handle the tight circuits, and can they get away from the big Mustangs who have obviously more power in the straight. About 30 seconds to go. On the front line, number 8 Foley, number 3 Allen and number 2 Jane. Also to watch in about 3 lines back is number 1, the big white one of Ian Gagan. 10 seconds. And away they go in the middle. It's car number 3, that's Neil Allen, the Ford Mustang, getting away. Look at the tiny Morris Cooper of Brian Foley's in 2nd place. But it's, yes, there's a little one of number 8 getting through to challenge Neil Allen and Bob Jane. They're coming now to turn into the straight, and the 2 Mustangs certainly got the better of the start as they go into the fast part of the course, and this is where the Mustangs can get away. But on the tighter side, after they come around Creek Corner, you'll see Brian Foley, who's a remarkably skillful driver in this small classic car in the Morris Cooper. He'll be catching up on them if he can. This is a real battle now, and we see that Ian Gagan has moved up into 3rd place. So the Mustangs are running 1st, 2nd and 3rd. It's Neil Allen, Bob Jane in the darker Mustang, and then Ian Gagan in car 1, and there's the tiny tot Brian Foley, car number 8, the Morris Cooper S, back in 4th place. So it's going to be a race between the big fellows and the little one just touching at their heels. Cars number 3, 2 and 1 are running 1st, 2nd and 3rd, and car 8 is running in 4th place. We're coming now over the northern crossing, approaching the causeway. About 2/3 of the way, the water of the causeway in the foreground. And here's a change of order. Yes, car 1, Ian Gagan, has moved into 2nd place, I'd say. Yes, it's car 1 in 2nd place behind car 3. That's Neil Allen. So it's 3, 1 and 2 in car numbers. That's Neil Allen out in front, Ian Gagan 2nd and Bob Jane 3rd. So the official practice time of Ian Gagan wasn't a really serious indication of the skill of this driver and the performance of the car. And you see 2, that's Bob Jane with Brian Foley coming at him for 3rd place. They're coming into the straight now to complete the 1st lap. And it's 3, 1, 2 and 8, the 4 cars, and they're moving right away from the rest of the field. And it's going to be a tremendous race out in front with these 3 big Mustangs and this tiny Morris Cooper S. coming round for the second time to the top of the Hume Straight, and those two white cars, Neil Allen in front of Ian Gagan. Let's see the gap then of tipping the dust was Bob Jane and Brian Foley right at the heels of Bob Jane. Big cars getting tremendous power down this straight, and they come down into the braking area. They've got to slow right down to about 30 miles an hour to make this very difficult right-hand turn as they go around Creek Corner, and here they come together. It's Gagan having a go at Allen in front now, and you see the next two have dropped back slightly. That's Jane and Foley, but Gagan is putting the pressure right on the man in front. That's Neil Allen. Both cars have equal performance. Ford Mustangs V8 in practice, Neil Allen 146.4 and Ian Gagan a slow 149.4. Well, very obviously as they come over the northern crossing for the second time, there is not 3 seconds per lap difference in these two cars. Now let's watch the body sway as they come round this U-turn at the causeway, and there's Gagan going through, and Ian Gagan has hit the front. Ian Gagan of Liverpool, the local driver, has gone ahead of car number 3, Neil Allen. Now right across to the right-hand side, they move across to the left now for their turn at Polo Corner. They're along the approach. They accelerate now to get along to Ledger Straight to come down the final straight for the first time, or the second time now, to complete lap 2. But Ian Gagan has raced away, and Ian Gagan, who started well back in the grid, has now moved out to lead from Neil Allen. Bob Jane is in third place. Oh, looks like Brian Foley. Brian Foley has moved past Bob Jane. Let's look at the cars as they come through. Yes, that's number 2 going through now, isn't it? Yes. Bob Jane is back in 4th place, and Brian Foley in the Morris Cooper S is up in 3rd place behind the 2 white Mustangs, and you see the gap now. But Foley gains an advantage on these bigger cars when they get on the northern side of the course. That's round the S's and the tight area through the causeway. Now in the straight, this is where the bigger cars would get some form of advantage, but Brian Foley would have his foot right to the floor coming down the straight. Into the braking area now, it's Ian Gagan still holding that lead round Creek Corner, that tight bend. They're only going about 30 miles an hour, perhaps a little bit more around there, but Gagan accelerating away now, and Allen sitting on behind him. Allen had the lead from the start. Gagan has moved away from him now, and looking back at Foley, well, the gap to Foley has dropped, increased quite a bit as we see them now. So it's the 2 big Mustangs having a great dice out in front between the 2. They're over the northern crossing for the 3rd time. I can see Foley just came through the back of the picture then. He's clearly in 3rd place, ahead of Bob Jane, who's in car 2. Now these 4 drivers would be 4 of the outstanding sedan car drivers in Australia. They've had many flashes before. Over the years, they're all drivers of great experience. And now here's the turn at Polo Corner, and you see that the different line taken by the cars. In fact, Brian Foley is adopting that same line, but notice how the Morris Cooper goes round the corners just a little bit easier, and he can manoeuvre onto this small car on these corners easier than the bigger Mustangs. So Foley in 3rd place as the 2 Mustangs come down into the straight, and they're going now to complete lap 3. So at the end of lap 3 with 7 laps to go, you see that Foley now is in clear 3rd place, and 4 seconds away behind him we have car number 2, which is Bob Jane, and then car number 11, which was P. Barnes, also in a Morris Cooper S, followed by B.A. Jones, also driving a Morris Cooper S. So the order of cars is car number 1, Ian Gagan, then we have number 3, Neil Allen, number 8, Brian Foley, number 2, Bob Jane, number 11, P. Barnes, and number 12, B.A. Jones. Now the 2 big Mustangs are on lap 4, and here's a great go between them. It's Neil Allen having a go at Gagan again. We could see changes of order here because Allen is certain that will not be overcome by the reputation of Gagan. In fact, they both have great reputations, and Allen will make his attempt here to get past Gagan again. But the pressure on these 2 front cars might give the little fellow behind a great chance of Brian Foley. And just looking at some lap times coming across, yes, officially after 3 laps the order was car 1, Gagan, car, and he was 1 second ahead of Allen, in 4 seconds back to Foley, and a further 4 seconds back to Jane. So it's car 1, Ian Gagan, car 3, Neil Allen, car 8, Brian Foley, and car 2, Bob Jane. The margins 1 second after 3 laps between 1st and 2nd, 4 seconds more to Foley in 3rd place, and 4 seconds more to Jane. The first 4 cars separated by 9 seconds. This looks like they're coming round towards the end of the